Welcome to Magically Mindful, the podcast, where emotional alchemy, self love, and soul remembrance collide. I am your host, Tesla, emotional alchemist, here to share my raw perspectives on growth, healing, and the journey back to your authentic self. Through soulful conversations and inspiring stories, this space holds the messy, the magical, and everything in between. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful divine soul. Welcome back to Magically Mindful, the podcast. I am so excited that we are on our 60th episode and it is a Q&A. I always love doing these episodes. If you missed out on the chance to submit a question, make sure you're following me on Instagram at magically.mindful because every now and again I will be sharing to my stories when I'm doing before I record an episode like this so that you can submit your questions. So we're going to get right into it. The first one says, and I have my computer here, so if I'm glancing over, I'm checking for the questions. So, what would you tell your younger self that is just starting this journey? So, I'm going to take this question in the sense of the version of me that was just embarking on her self-love journey because that's really what started everything for me. So, gosh, I feel like always what I want to tell my younger self is that nothing is wrong with you. Nothing was ever wrong with you. You are enough. You are more than enough. Because my younger self, she just felt, looking back, I know that I had felt so misunderstood and I really did struggle with feeling not good enough, not like I would never be loved by someone. And my younger self really spent a lot of time seeking all of these things, external validation, love, acceptance. It was I was searching for that from my outside world, but if I every knowing everything that I know now, if I could go back and tell her something, it would be that, she doesn't everything that she needs is already inside of her. And I think that acceptance piece, those go hand in hand in the sense of there was never anything wrong with you. So, and this kind of will transition into the next question. These kind of go together. So, the second question asks, or well, it says, I feel like you're very tranquil and don't really let much outside stuff bother you, like the opinions of others. Have you always been like that? Or how did you get yourself to the point where you just don't give a fuck about what other people think anymore of you? So, yeah, I mean, no, I wasn't always this way because, yeah, I really do pride myself now in not giving a fuck about what other people think, but I was not always like that. My younger self, my teenage self, like I had said, I was always seeking for validation and acceptance and love outside of my own self, which meant that I really cared way too much about what other people thought of me. And even I think like that can look as simple as uh, when I was younger, I would wear all of this makeup. And I had someone say to me not long ago, I was showing them this picture of me from, I think, 2013, and they were like, "Why do you look older there than now?" And I was like, "Oh, probably because I never or hardly ever wear makeup." And I think for me, like, I think makeup's a beautiful thing and it's fun, but I mean, I'm just someone that I'm not the best at those things. Like, one of my really good friends in the t I think in the 10th grade, I think, or maybe we were still in junior high, I don't know exactly, but she taught me how to curl my hair, and I think it's just because my mom is not very, like, super girly, so, she doesn't really wear makeup either, and I just didn't have that influence growing up, and I just I think I don't really think I'm a perfectionist. I mean, we all can be in certain ways, but I think where perfectionism could show up for me would be basically what I'm trying to say, the thought in my head is when it comes to like makeup or even experimenting too much in the department of beauty, like I'm like, no, I don't want to fuck it up. Like I don't think I trust myself enough to be too experimental. So there's that part that's kind of underlying, but when I was younger, like would spend so much time in the mirror, like not seeing myself, but rather trying to like enhance, like, I wouldn't have, if I'm putting myself in my shoes back then, it wouldn't have even been enhanced because I thought like, I'm ugly, cancel clear delete. Like, I was my own worst critic and I felt like I needed to try to, like, look a certain way so that I would be accepted by others and, like, receive that love through my own appearance. So, yeah, that was very prominent for me for a long time. And so, how did I transform that and to now be at a place where I really don't care what other people think of me anymore? And I think it really is this journey that I've been on of like my pillars within Magically Mindful and just in my life is self-love, self-acceptance, self-understanding. So, if you've watched me for a while, you'll know that. Like I may sound like a broken record when I say that, but if you're new here, like those three things are so important to me and they of course all go hand in hand. And I think just doing the work, the inner work, and I really it was it I feel like it can be hard for me to, like, remember the turning point, like, I know the turning point was getting out of a toxic relationship when I was in my early 20s, but from that point I feel like it was just like, that was the turning point of being like, "Okay, wait a minute, like, I'm actually a kick-ass, like, girlfriend, friend, this, that, and the other." So, because that toxic relationship I was in, it was on and off more than it was on, like, more than we were actually together because once we had broken up, we never officially got back together, but we were on and off for at least probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year, but I I know that that's when the mental shift happened, but at that time, yeah, I was like 19, 20, and so I hadn't quite I think I was starting to love myself, but it was kind of in a superficial way because at that time I was in college. I was in radio broadcasting at Humber College in Toronto, but to be so specific, it was actually in Etobicoke. But if you know, you know. So anyways, I was living on residence and I was obsessed with going to the gym, but that was very much like I was going to the gym to look a certain way and I also was not eating enough and that wasn't intentional. I thought I was eating healthy, but no, I would go to the salad bar on the residence and I would get spinach. Like I would make a salad and I would make it with spinach, baby tomatoes, and cucumber. That's it. Nothing else. Because I thought I was being healthy. I just was like not educated enough. Like I did not realize what I was doing because now I'm like, hello, like you need fucking protein. But, anyways, so all that to say, I think in the very beginning stages when I was like becoming more confident, I was attaching that to my appearance. But then over time, as I like grew up more and just had more life experience and was exposed to new things like mindfulness and what real self-love is, like self-love is not just about loving your appearance. And so getting to the point of where I started to not give a fuck about what other people thought, it was through the practice of fully, unconditionally, radically accepting myself, my flaws and all. Because when you do that, like, you are able to own all parts of you, like the good and the bad, the dark and the light, then in my opinion, how could I let anyone outside of me and their opinions, like, nothing is can shake me, like, because it's like I fully embrace everything about me. So if someone's trying to come at me and be like, "Oh, you're this, whatever," I'd be like, "I love all parts of myself. I accept all parts of myself." Oh, Dolce, you probably can't hear her, but my kitty's like right up in her cat tree and she just awoke from her nap to, like, preach. She was like they were little silent meows, but I think that was her being like, "Hell yeah, mom, you did that." But, yeah, I'm just like, how the fuck like, why would I care about what someone else thinks of me? Because I know myself. I accept myself. I love myself first and foremost. Like, that comes first. So, I think it's just through doing that work of and I mean, it's gonna look different for everyone. Self-love is gonna look different and that's the thing, like, I don't know, I think in our day and age, like, self-love is like, oh, just your I don't know. Like it's not so black and white because the things that make us uniquely me and you, like we're so layered and I've talked about this throughout my podcast about my journey of alchemizing my relationship with rage, toxic rage, to that being my greatest superpower, and now I have a healthy dynamic with it. And I'm not out and about in the world, like, just reacting to every little thing like I once used to. So, a big piece of self-acceptance for me, my darkness was my, mm, unhealthy relationship with rage, my used to be unhealthy relationship with rage. So, I had to really work on that, but for you, it could look different because, you may not have an unhealthy relationship with rage, but, whatever you might perceive as a flaw or a weakness, like I'm always going to be here to remind you, no, that's your greatest strength and your greatest gift once you are able to embrace it and shine light on it. But yeah, so I just think with this question asking of, how did I get to the point of not giving a fuck about what other people think and like how do you not let it bother you? That's where it comes from of like, I had to move through this. I had to, and I mean, like I said, like I wasn't always like this. Like I spent a lot of my life not accepting myself, like wanting to be someone else. But, certain things happened that then allowed me to be like, wait, I'm actually fucking amazing. And, I'm a Leo sun. So Leos definitely they love themselves a lot. It's not to say that other signs don't, but there's just, that essence of a Leo and just like the lioness energy being ruled by the sun, this, that, and the other. So it only was I feel like it was a matter of time for me to really come into who I am at my core, which is my like Leo sun. But yeah, I think certain things led me to this point, which allowed me to be just pour into myself so much through that self-acceptance that that's how I can be at this point now. So the next question asks, how do you reset after a stressful week? Curious to know your process to practice self-love and love the podcast. Thanks. So this is a great question because we were talking about self-love and I didn't fully finish my thought of like well, I guess what I said is, self-love's not so black and white, and so we can kinda get into that a little bit more because honestly, yeah, this question comes at a good time because I think, like, 9 out of 10 times or, like, the majority of my life, I guess, like, if I look back on the past, like, 6 months, well, I mean, I've had some stressful weeks, I guess. I was just gonna say, like, I feel like I don't often have stressful weeks, but this past week was a little bit stressful. I just, like, was moving through some things that like, I definitely feel a lot better, but I don't know, I'm in my Saturn return now, and also considering I talk a lot about Saturn return just in my own life, and I have a little bit here and there online, but I didn't realize because I know Saturn I have my Saturn in Aries, and I didn't quite realize I didn't quite realize how long that's for. I just knew, "Oh, Saturn return happens at 29 and a half, and I know I've been kind of feeling into it prior to my 29th birthday, which was just a couple weeks ago." But I had asked my Google Assistant, "How long is Saturn in Aries?" And she said, "Until 2028." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, like, it's really that long." I was like, "Oh my god." Ugh. But anyways, all that to say, I know I'm gonna be I'm really on the roller coaster ride of the Saturn return ride. So, there's gonna be lots of more moments. I feel like I'm gonna deal with a lot more of polarity than I have like lately. I don't know. I just think the beginning of 2024 and even like almost a year ago, September 2024, I was off to California and I lived there with my family. I escaped the Canadian winter for about 5 months. Like I was there from September until February, and then I had went to New Zealand and for 3 weeks in February, and then I came back. But that's the thing, like, after the New Zealand trip, I was detained and deported, and then a bunch of other shit happened upon my return to Calgary. So, I'm like, yeah, there's been some moments, but anyways, I'm getting on a huge tangent, which if you know me and you know I'm a manifesting generator, so that's just how my brain works. But resetting after a stressful week. So, to be so fucking real with you, my how I like to decompress, not always, but historically, I like to fucking watch TV. That's my fucking thing. And it's usually YouTube, but this past week I caught up on Jersey Shore Family Vacation because it was started getting released in June, like they had come back, but I hadn't watched it at all, and now it's August, and so there was one day where I binged, like, maybe 3 episodes, and then every night after work, I didn't care how late it was, I was like, "No," because I've gotten a lot better. If you saw my Badlands vlog, you will know that I was, like, I don't know, I feel like in July specifically, I just had a lot of late nights, but I think I've been better lately where I'm like, cancel clearly anything else. But I'm like, okay, if I come home after my DoorDash shift, because, I usually am working in the evenings, I'm like, no, I feel tired. I'm going to go to bed. But this past week, I just was feeling extra, more irritable than normal. Like, usually I'm pretty fucking chill. But like I said, was moving through this thing last week. So I was like, "No, I don't care, like, I'm watching one fucking episode of that," and it brought me so much joy, like, I just like, they were like my now I'm all caught up, but they were like being my comfort, they were my comfort show, and I was just laughing so much, and, like, what I will say, though, prior to, like, sitting down and being able to decompress and watch an episode of that, as soon as I walk in the door and my cat Dolce greets me, everything melts away. Everything melts away. And I know who submitted this question, and I know that you have 2 cats, so you can probably relate to that. But yeah, I just feel like whenever I come home and if I'm feeling away, as soon as I hear her little meows and she's just like so excited to see me, like everything melts away. So like that's number 1. That helps me to already start feeling better. But I think something that I also am consistent with is journaling every night because for the past few years, I have been getting from dreamy moons. I don't know if I've ever mentioned, I'm gonna show you actually. Let me go grab my journal. Okay, so this is my daily journal. It is from Dreamy Moons, and every year, so the artist, her name is Annie. Every year, the first one I got was in 2020. I think she was doing it at least a couple years prior to 2020, but they're called Year of Growth journals, and it's like just a daily diary. But she now includes, well, for the past couple of years, she's included astrology, so there's entries that you can do for the full moon and the new moon, but yeah, I have, I think, 4 of these. One year I actually won one, which was amazing, but I had to commit this year, like, one of my goals I set, and there's a goal setting area. Oh, I guess let me actually try to show you. I'm, like, flipping through it, but I'm not even, like, showing you. Okay, wait, let's go to, hold on. So you can see like every month for each month there's an entry. Like this was August, and it gives you the cosmic forecast and like the vibes to expect. And then every day there's this like area for you to write. So, yeah, I had to commit to myself that like you must fill this journal out, Tesla, because all the other ones, so many blank pages. But I have been consistent, and if I do miss a day or two, like I will just make sure that when I catch up, I fill in all the pages so then I just have all the like days. So I'll just have an extra long entry if but for the most part, I've like that's what I do. That helps me to just reset because putting pen to paper is so therapeutic. It's so therapeutic. And I will say like sometimes I do need to just pull out my bigger journal because then you can just free flow and you have so much room. Like this is more just like I guess to recap every day, but sometimes I do just write like how I'm feeling. Like you can go about journaling however you want, but I think that that's a really good thing as well, and definitely smudging. And I know the question asks like resetting after a stressful week, but I would say even just like if it's just a day, like f- it's not just like so every day I'm obviously journaling, but smudging, like, I might not do it every day, but I know last week, like, there were a couple days in a row where I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to smudge myself," you know? So, doing that because I think that's a huge thing, like, if I'm feeling irritated or stressed, it's likely because I've picked up energy from being out in the world because, I mean, that's a whole tangent on human design, but I have an undefined solar plexus, which means I'm sensitive to the emotions of others and like in my environment. But when I'm in my own aura, so like by myself right here and now, like this is my baseline. Like I'm chilling. But yeah, for me, I know that I'm very sensitive when I go out and about. And, it's interesting with door dashing because I am not often, like, seeing people so much. I mean, you do when you pick up the food, but when you drop off, like, I'd say 80% of the time you're just leaving it at the door versus actually, like, meeting the person at the door. So, I don't know, but I don't know, there was just my work week last week was very odd, and there were just some things that were irritating me with DoorDash, so I was like, "'Kay, I need to just, like, smudge myself," and I also have a selenite wand, like, it's a large piece of selenite, and I after I smudge myself, I will wrap myself in a selenite shield of protection. I learned that from my crystal healing course that I did several years ago because after doing a crystal healing session on someone, so cleansing and realigning their chakras, I would wrap them in a selenite shield because then it just keeps you, of course, you set your intention, but the intention I go in it with is to keep me safe or keep them safe in their own energy now that we've cleared out all that's not theirs or no longer aligned. But I think Yeah, whatever. I think it's just important that because I think for me, had this belief, and I mean, it still can be there at times of just like, oh, if you're spending all this time watching TV, like you're unproductive or you're lazy. But, you know, sometimes that's what I need to fucking do. Like, that's really what I need to do. I just need to like to chill on the couch or be in my bed and just like watch things that make me laugh and smile. So, whatever that is for you, maybe it is like a show that you love or a podcast or whatever. Like, sometimes we need that because that is like my escape to like forget about what was pissing me off. Because, yeah, those days where I felt annoyed coming home, I see Dolce, my kitty, instantly feel happier, and then I watch an episode of the thing, and then by the time I go to journal, like, I've spent an hour laughing, and then I go to journal, it's like, "Oh, I don't even feel annoyed anymore." Like, it's fine, you know? So, I think it's important to do that and to not feel guilty for enjoying something like that. And then I guess one other thing I would say too is, like, I'm trying to do this more and more. I know it's so good for me, and I love to be outdoors and be in nature, especially without my phone, but I have not cultivated enough time and space for it this summer, which is unfortunate because, oh my god, August is going by so fast. But, never late than never because this past week and now, like, I've been going outside more than I have probably all fucking summer. So, I think that's really important too because you can what I love to do when I'm outside is get barefoot if you can. But even if you still have your shoes on, that's okay. But I love to be, like, in grass or just, like, if you're on a trail and you see a bunch of roots from the trees, to just, like, stomp your feet on the ground and like, say in your head or, like, out loud that you're releasing anything that no longer serves you, any negative energies, any energies that are not yours, and you are giving it back to Mother Gaia so that it can be repurposed into positive energies. And so, yeah, just like grounding yourself. And I just love doing it by roots because it's so, to me, that's just the most grounding we can get. And, like, it doesn't get much more grounded than that, you know? And, yeah, just stomping your feet, and then as you're releasing it, you also set the intention that you are receiving, like, the opposite of those energies that you are releasing. So I think that's really helpful, and, of course, also working out because this past week when I was having an off week, I only made it to the gym once, and that was because I was like, it was by the time I went, it was Thursday, and I was like, "Why do I still feel so off? Like, I went for acupuncture and massage and this and that, like, why am I still feeling off?" I'm like, "Oh, because I haven't worked out." Like, yes, I went on walks, but I was like, "No, I need to lift some weights." So, I think that that helps me too if I'm feeling off or stressed to go and get a solid workout in. So the next question says, big time fan of your podcast. You've helped me learn more about my emotions and have motivated me to explore where they come from. Oh, that's so amazing. So, any advice for those or any advice for working through limiting beliefs you may have about yourself? I'm currently working through traumas and have noticed through past traumas and have noticed a lot of thoughts and feelings that have come up that I haven't in a while. Okay, so this is a great question. I'm just like trying to chunk it down. So, okay, so advice for working through limiting beliefs about yourself and noticing thoughts and feelings that haven't come up in a while. See, that's really I resonate with that a lot actually because again, this past week I what the like I mentioned I was feeling more irritable and I was like that's like seems weird because I just like I spent a lot of my life feeling that way but I now like now I haven't, like, I'd say in the last few years, like, I've been, like, pretty fucking chill. So, I think I think well, I know that with Saturn return, and I know who submitted this question and that you are also going through your Saturn return, like, it's very much this opportunity to, like, I think, face things from the past, which you are doing, like you had mentioned, which is amazing. So, like, you should be so proud of yourself. But I think, yeah, when we do work through things of the past, like, we do have to face those versions of ourself. And I think a really important thing that will help you to move through this with more ease is forgiveness and like meeting your past versions of you who lived through those traumas and forgiving them. Like, because the limiting beliefs of it all, like, there has to be that forgiveness of like, I'm sorry that I that we, me, myself, and I, like, that we felt unlovable or unworthy because that's not true. Like, that is not truth. We are inherently worthy just as we are, just for existing. So, I think I think just, yeah, accepting it for what it was, because I think limiting beliefs I know that I had were just so tied with, like, beating myself up, like, when I the version of me who, wasn't her own best friend, who wasn't her biggest cheerleader, who was her own worst enemy and critic, there was so much time spent of, like, beating myself up. So, I think meeting her, and I think a great something that could be really, like, helpful as you're doing this work is the inner child practices. Like, if you just go on YouTube and search up, like, inner child meditation, but whatever's gonna help you to kind of, like, visualize your younger self and meet them and, like, just listen to what they have to say, and you'll also know intuitively, like, what you needed then, and just, like, give that all to your little version of you, because I think when we do that, forgiveness just, like, is a part of that as well. And yeah, I just think there's that mantra, it's a Hawaiian mantra. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll add it on the screen here. But the saying goes, "I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you." And I think that that really embodies or encompasses that work of meeting ourself, because I think too it's just remembering that, you know, when we are facing our past, which I forgot to finish my thought here with Saturn return is a big point of like metamorphosis. So it's natural that we're going to be met with things from our past. So I think so it makes sense. I mean, we can obviously deal with this at any point in our life, but I think it is very prevalent when we do move through our Saturn return, because we're really like looking at what no longer works. Like, Saturn's here to break it all down so that we can be reborn as we then traverse into our 30s, into this whole new decade of life. But I think, yeah, just moving through, like, reflecting on things from the past and noticing these thoughts and feelings, that's kind of like, I think that's actually a good thing, because then you can just be like, "Okay, I see you, I feel you, I hear you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you." And like, those are coming up for a reason so that you can lovingly release them and be like, "Thank you for what you have taught me, and I know that at the time you were trying to protect me, and I know that at that time I was doing the best that I could with what I had, but now I've evolved and I'm ever evolving, but where I'm at now, I know that, and then whatever it is that you are working through from the past, like you will have just a different perspective on it. So it's going to allow you to kind of like again just meet that version of you with a whole new lens, a whole new mindset. But I think just being able to like how to work through those limiting beliefs is just like be so fucking honest with yourself and like look in the mirror and be like, is this really true? Because so much of the limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves or that we've picked up just through life from like society or those opinions of others, like that's the thing. Like a lot of them, they don't even come from us. Like they come from conditioning or programming or like social media, right? Like there's from external influences. So when you can really just like sit down and be like, write out all the limiting beliefs and then yeah, you could write them all out and then you could sit in front of a mirror and ask yourself, you could be like, okay, I have this belief. Is this true or not? And look at yourself. And I feel like your eyes are going to give you the fucking answer. So I think it's just like really meeting from where you are at today, meeting that version of you from the past and being like saying that mantra and just being like, we like making the conscious choice to be like, I no longer choose to believe this because I know that isn't this isn't like serving me anymore. And just like radically loving and accepting yourself through that. So I think just bringing that awareness and that compassion, that forgiveness, that love for you now and the you that had to go through all of those traumas and just flipping the script like then with everything that you had written down of those limiting beliefs, rewrite them into positive beliefs and then speak those to yourself in the mirror. And I think inevitably you're going to just like feel like I feel like it would be a very it will be an emotional thing to do, but I think you'll move like whatever however you end up feeling, let yourself move through it, honor it. And I just think as you continue to do that, like, you're gonna be like, "Oh my god," like, it's going to allow you to, like, feel the immense love that you were born with for yourself already. Like, it's just going to, like, allow that to bubble to the surface and just, like, engulf you. So, let me know how that goes, and I love you. The next question says, "I recently returned to a place where I am tested and triggered. Situationally, it is working to support me, but energetically, it feels very unaligned. I have felt this way for a while and I'm trying to work something else out. I'm stepping more into my sense of self, and this podcast has helped me immensely to do that. Any suggestions for this? Thank you." Oh, you guys are so sweet. I love you. I love you. So, yeah, I mean, knowing that you listen to the podcast, you may have heard me say this before, but I know I've talked about this a lot on recent episodes, but just how important it is to let go of people, places, things that are no longer aligned because if we do continue to engage with them or not like make the choice to be like, sorry, this isn't aligned, like if we don't clear space, then how can the universe bring us what is aligned? Because first of all, we don't have space for it, and secondly, we are subconsciously telling the universe to bring me more of it because I am keeping it around. So it's great that you have the awareness of this. And I know that, like, you're saying that this place is working to support you, but like in theory, but energetically it's unaligned. And when things are unaligned, they inevitably are gonna end up draining us. So, I would say just make a plan of action where you can see an end in sight. I think that would be very supportive because, yeah, I understand we can't always just cut something out. Like, if you know about my little my short-lived experience with trying to sell insurance, well, I didn't like spoiler alert, I didn't even get to onto a sales call because I was like, "Wait, like, this is not aligned," so I just fucking left. I pivoted as a manifesting generator, like, if you know, you fucking know. But, like, you know how why that's so important to do that. But I understand that that can't always work for everyone. And so I think if you have a plan of action in place, like maybe even a deadline of like, okay, I need to get out of this situation by this date, because otherwise I think, we can prolong things, and we don't always do it on purpose, but then like other things in life come up and then we are like, well, oh, I don't have the capacity, like I just have to keep doing this. But I think that that could be helpful because it just will give you that, like, something solid to be like, "Okay, this is what I'm working towards." And who knows, like, maybe that's a week from now, maybe it's several weeks, maybe it's a month, but, set a realistic goal of like, "Okay, I need to be out of this by this date." But and, make some negotiables so that because then you're really letting the universe know, like, "Hey, this is not what I want." And, like, we're co-creating with the universe, so it's like, "I'm putting this in place. Can you meet me halfway? Like, please bring me something better by this date." Because that's also, like, future pacing it. This is something that I learned in my coaching certification. So, you can, like, put something into your future timeline, basically. So, I would say get really clear on what you want if you haven't already, and write out a list, like, basically manifest this. Like, write out a list of all the things that you want in, like, we'll say if this is like a job, because I know you said a place. So we'll just say if this is like a job, okay? Write out all the things that you're looking for in a job. And if you're listening, like, this could apply to like a relationship or whatever, but we'll just use the example of a job. So write out everything that you're looking for down to like the hours that you want to work, the amount of money you want to make, the amount of time off you want to be able to have, like whatever it is, and specifically what you're doing day in and day out. Like, get very specific and write it all out. And then what you can do is write out this kind of future pace statement and be like, it is now this date, and I am so grateful to be working for, if you wanna say a specific company or something. Like, I'm just thinking if I should use an example. I will say a couple episodes ago, I had said that I, like, was so excited because I applied for this job that felt so aligned. Well, come to find out there were 3,000 applicants and counting, probably, and I applied for that job, I think it was July 4th, and now it's, like, the middle of August. And so, but I'll just use them as an example so that it makes more sense oh my gosh, what this, what this statement looks like. So I'm going to actually say the company name. So it is now September 1st, 2025, and I am so grateful to be working with Jane App. I love working a remote job and having the flexibility. It feels so good to be with a company that honors my unique energy, and I'm so grateful to be financially supported and free. So something like that is how you would want to write it. So, and I'll keep you posted because I just said that out loud. So I'm putting it into the universe. I'm so sorry. I'm playing with my hair right now. My hair, I had washed it this morning and it's still kind of wet. And, anyways, but Yeah, I put that out into the universe, so I'll keep you posted with that, but that's a good reminder for me too to actually write it down. But yeah, put something like that, and maybe you don't know the specific company, and that's okay. The important thing when you're writing a statement like that is to put the date and then put how you feel and, like, why. Like, I am feeling so supported, I'm feeling so aligned because I'm this or whatever. So, and that list that you'll have made of, and it doesn't have to be a list, like it could be like a fucking brainstorm sheet, whatever, make it your own of like all the things that you're looking for, but you're going to have so many things. And so you don't want the sentence to be so long. Because I guess I'm kind of connecting this with the 369 manifestation method. So that is for 30 days you would use something like a sentence like that. When I've done it, I don't think I've actually put a date, but you totally could. And for 30 days, you write that out 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times at night. And yeah, it's so that's why I'm like, yeah, you might not wanna make the sentence super long, but you don't necessarily need to do the 369 manifestation method. I know I'm giving you all the things, all the suggestions, but just take what sticks. But yeah, because there's a lot of ways that you could go about it, but I think that just because yeah, this is all energetic, everything is, it's important to like when we're feeling like we're in something that's unaligned but we know we can't leave right away, it is important to cultivate the space to like really feel in to the beautiful like feelings of when our manifestations, when our ideal situation, like when we're living it out, like we want to be already feeling those things now so that we can then become a magnet for that ideal situation. So, those are my suggestions. And the last question asks, what is the best advice for anyone trying to change their own inner monologue from negative to positive? I have been using cancel, clear, delete when I catch myself talking negatively to myself. Well, love that because I'll always say cancel, clear, delete is a great way to start. And when I first learned about cancel, clear, delete, it was from an oracle card in this angel deck. And she, or the person, Doreen Virtue, um, said that when you do think, like, find yourself saying negative things or thoughts about yourself, to say cancel, clear, delete, but actually flick your wrist, like cancel, clear, delete, and flick it off the wrist. So that is super helpful. I actually don't really do the wrist thing because I when I first learned that it was like probably in 2020. So now I just will say cancel, clear, delete. But I think that that is super helpful because then your subconscious isn't registering those thoughts. Like you might think them, but then if you cancel them out, that's really supportive for your subconscious mind. But I think too, just honestly, affirmations, like it's the OG way, but I think it's the OG way for a reason because if you can I think it's you can get really creative with this. Like you can of course get beautiful paper and write it and then post it around your place, but also going on to Canva or whatever type of like website where you can make like a collage or just like yeah, of things that make you feel good, but also put in those like positive statements about yourself. And also too, what's really powerful for the subconscious mind is record yourself saying literally positive affirmations about yourself and then play it when you go to sleep and when you wake up because that will help you a lot to retrain your subconscious mind and just, over time that will compound and you'll be like, "Oh, I think like just through doing that, like you will yeah, over time have that mental shift and then those negative thoughts will just like literally drift away because like I've talked about earlier in the episode, like, I used to be my own worst critic, so more of my life than not was spent, like, telling myself I hated myself, and I really try my best to not even use the word hate. Like, very seldomly will I use that because I'm just like, oh, like it's just not a word that I want to have in my vocabulary, honestly, because really, like, what the fuck do I need to hate? Like, what? So I just think like I think even like monitoring your monologue just about other things as well, because if we're out here being like, "Oh, I hate this thing so much," like the way that the subconscious mind picks up things is just so sneaky. So if we're out here saying like we hate this and we hate that, like it's not, even if you're not saying it about yourself, it's still going to like your subconscious is going to pick it up in a way and like just bring you more things to hate. So I just think like being so, and it's like, of course, like, like, I'm a real fucking person, okay? I'm not out here, I'm not supporting toxic positivity, but, like, life is short. So, you know, I have spent a lot of time, like, really being so intentional with my words because my words, your words, mine, ours, they are law. Like, what we think, what we believe, what we say, the words that we're speaking, it all fucking manifests. So I think yeah, just what you're doing is you're already monitoring your inner monologue to self, but I'd also invite you to monitor how are you speaking about like just not even about but just in your day-to-day life and interactions and like the people you talk to, like, how do they speak? So, I would say that can be really helpful, but yeah, the affirmations, and then, yeah, like, making a collage, like a digital one and putting it as your phone background, yeah, that's what I would do. So, thank you all for your beautiful, beautiful questions. I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your love and support. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm always here for you. I have the podcast out every other week, and on the off weeks, there's a YouTube vlog. So make sure you check out my last vlog. I'll pop it up on the screen for you. It's just like a cute little pep talk as I unwinded for the night. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. If this episode brought you clarity, insight, or a moment of reflection, I'd love for you to share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you share it on Instagram, tag me at magically.mindful so we can keep the conversation going. To stay updated on what's coming next, head to magicallymindful.ca. Thank you for listening and for choosing to honor your journey today.